in preparing for the show, I saw a recent interview of you by a narcissistic abuse recovery coach, and
Yes.
in that interview, you said that you had a narcissistic mother. Can you explain what that is and how do you know she was narcissistic? What does that mean?
Well, that's another story. Uh, you're asking very deep questions,
Oh,
and
thank
I
you.
like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of traits about narcissists. The first, they care about themselves only, obviously. They do not care about your feelings. They blame, my experience is like they blame their feelings, how they feel on you. It's always your fault. Um, and they manipulate you. They give you like a little roller coaster of emotions,
Right.
and they manipulate you with that. You know, they reel you in, and you gain their trust. I mean, they gain your trust, and so then when you trust them and you're cool, that's when they punch you in the face. And then, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And then again, they repeat the cycle. So it's kind of like they have you on your toes, and it's like your stomach is always like, oh, what are they
Yeah.
going to do today?
And when you would tell your father, my mother is crazy and I need you to help me deal with her, what did he help you deal with your mother?
Well, he was always working.
Oh, he stayed away from her.
I would have too. I mean, I love my mother, because I have compassion for her condition, and it was more a mental illness that was not treated that caused her to be that way. So I do have compassion for her
Right.
and love, and I think that's the only way I could heal from all the damage all the trauma
Yeah.
that was
And
inflicted.
and so when you went as a kid, a child growing up, when you would tell your father once he did get home from work or wherever he was, when you would say, "Hey, my mother's crazy, help me deal with her," what would he say?
No, I could never do that. He was kind of like a little bit of a coward.
Oh, he
So
was a
I knew
beta
that,
male?
yeah, yeah. So I knew he wouldn't, I just instinctively knew he was not going to help me. But I do remember, he was a very funny guy, and he actually inspired me to be a comedian, and I wish I had more time with him. But he was always away, and my mom was the main caretaker.
Yeah.
So but like I said, I have just nothing but love and compassion for my mother.
And so when you say he was a coward, can you
Yeah.
explain that?
He was afraid of my mom.
And you could
And
just
just like
tell
I
that in
was.
his action or what?
Well,
Or
she was,
inaction?
well, what happens is she had borderline personality. That's why I've been talking to a lot of therapists about it. And
Right.
that's what we think she had. And of course, it was unmedicated. And so what happens is they switch on you like that. So they can be okay, and something triggers them that's like, for you, it wouldn't trigger you. Like you leave a cup of coffee on the table, and that triggers them, and you're like, what just happened?
Right.
And so they just like boom, and so I think he was scared of that. He didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want to deal with it, but I never knew what would trigger her.
Right. Were you an
It
only
was,
child?
no, I have a brother, but we don't have a good relationship
Uh,
because he's messed up too.
uh, and
As you
so,
can imagine.
you know how when we are traumatized by our parents, especially the mother, and
Yeah.
you become angry, you become like what you hate. You take on the identity
Right.
of that you hate. Did you become narcissistic like your mother?
Well, of course, some learned behaviors, that when you deal with certain situations, you see your mother, she's your role model, especially as a female. So you kind of like, oh, this is the way you deal with it. And then you realize, no, that's not the way you deal with it. So thank God I have a lot of critical thinking, and I have a lot of logical skills. So I became aware like, oh, this is not good. This is not the way to deal with it. So I realized that it was a learned behavior. And yes, usually the child of a narcissistic parents can adopt the traits of a narcissist. Absolutely.
And so you became like what you hate.
Not 100%, I would say, but in certain situations, and I didn't like it at all. Of course, it's like, wait, this is not the way I should deal with this.
Yeah.
So, but it takes a lot of mental clarity to be able to acknowledge, that you can take on the traits of a narcissist.
Are you over that now?
I am so over it.
Oh, okay.
I told you, I just go love, peace.
Right.
I don't want to mess with that. I had too much of that, too much trauma, PTSD. I don't want to deal with it.
And so did you go to your mother and forgive her for resenting her for being so crazy?
Oh my God, yes, of course.
You told her that?
Yes, and we actually did talk about it, but the problem is that she didn't see it. She saw it, but she didn't see it at the same time.
Right.
And when you have a condition like borderline personality, you can't control your emotions at times. And so, I would tell her something and she would get angry. But I did stop her when, like a couple of years before she passed away, she was like yelling at me for whatever stupid reason. And I completely just stopped her with a lot of authority and strength. And she was like, wow, that's exactly what I need. And that's when I knew she's messed up. Like she needed her daughter to stop her from blowing up.
And your father, did you go and forgive him for not protecting you from her?
Of course. Yeah.
You told him that?
I never got to tell him because he passed away when I was much younger.
Oh,
and
okay.
So I wasn't still in touch with all this mess. All this inheritance.
Yeah. And so you said that your brother's messed up too. Have you suggested to him that he need to forgive his mother for being crazy and forgive his father for not protecting him?
It's hard for me to talk to him.
Oh, it is?
It's very hard for me to talk to him. Yeah. It's very hard.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But, if he's listening, yes, definitely I would suggest that because that's the past and that's stopping, you from being all you can be.
When you went to get help with counselors and therapists and all that stuff during the time you were gone, were they able to help you?
Who was able to help
Were
me?
you seeing therapists and counselors?
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm a very thinking person. Like I think a lot, a lot, and I do a lot of research. So I would go prepared. It's almost like, okay, this is what's going on. This is my analysis. And then there would be like, yeah, well, she had borderline personality, this and that. And to be honest, I don't need somebody to tell me how to heal.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I access the kingdom of God or my higher self, whatever you want to call it, I'm able to do that now. And that is what heals me and what keeps me sane and in peace and in joy and and understanding of what this life is about. It's just a temporary journey. We're in these bodies. We're way bigger than these bodies. And we're here to raise the vibration of the earth. If you act in love and peace and joy and forgiveness, you raise the vibration of other people because you don't tap into that, anger and fear and like all the ugly stuff that just doesn't lead anywhere but destruction.
Is there such a thing as a true thought of lies or truth?
A true thought. Interesting. Well, I don't think I am my thoughts. I do kind of like look at, okay, I'm thinking this, that doesn't sound right or doesn't ring true. So I do kind of like filter the thoughts. And I don't know where they come from. It could be an external thing. It could be somebody connects with you. I do believe like we can connect telepathically with people, and I do that a lot. Like it's kind of crazy. Like I think of somebody or think about somebody doing something, and that's exactly what happens like 5 minutes later. Like it's insane.
So you realize that you're not the creator of your thoughts.
That's right. Yeah.
And so is there such a thing as a good or a bad thought?
I don't think there's a good or bad thought. I think that it's what you do with the thought that's good or bad.
It's what you do with them?
Yeah.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, if my thought says I want to punch this person in the face, which it comes to me at times, you know, I will be like, not a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, or if a thought comes to me and it's like, you need to help this person, or you need to, you know, give them compassion. That's a good thought in the sense that I will take action. I will do it. I will honor that thought.
Yeah.
Where they come from, I have no idea. They come from my consciousness, from an outside source, no clue.
I have noticed that all thoughts are all lies all the time. There's no such thing as a true thought. They build you up to make you feel good, and then they let you down to make you feel bad. They build you up, and after a while, you just want to jump off a bridge.
Well, that's why you have to kind of analyze your thoughts. Misanalyze, you know, you just analyze the thought. Is this something that I want to do? Is this who I really am? You know, punching somebody in the face. Yeah, it would be fun to do it because I'm mad at them.
Yeah.
But is that who I really want to be? Is that who I really am? And the answer is no.
Do you have an ego?
Of course, we all have egos.
How about
you? Oh, we all do. Now,
how about you?
Of course, yeah.
And
I do
what
have
is the ego? What is that?
Well, there's two types of ego, I think. The ego where you know your value, and I think that's a healthy thing. And the ego where you're impressed with yourself. I am not impressed with myself. I was inducted in the National Comedy Hall of Fame, and people keep reminding me because I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, I'm not impressed. It's like, so what? You know, it doesn't mean anything to me in the sense that, I mean, I'm honored, but I'm not impressed. It's like, okay, what else?